WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Looky what I have. Nc'nean Organic Single Malt Scotch Whisky, Quiet Rebels Annabel. Annabel Thompson started the distillery. Now, just a tiny little tip here. You go slowly, you turn, and so on. It works then. Don't pick it up by the, I did this the other day. It was on down here and I picked it up and it was like, oh, it's moving slowly and so on. So if they put a little hole in here, it would actually come out much easier. But hey, who knows if they're going to ever listen to me. Now, this is one of those hyper bottles here that actually hit the market then in about October of 2021, and the market went wild. People were flipping these bottles, and people were trying to trade for these bottles, and people were absolutely going gaga for this bottle, all right? Why? Because it's the first of a yearly release of the Quiet Rebels, Whiskybase number 194198. I paid 79 euros for this. Online at the moment, I can find shops selling it for 350 pounds. I don't get it. It easily doubled in price. Now, I know, Nc'nean, that you cannot actually, at the moment, create batches bigger than at least 5,000 liters. This was a batch, not 5,000 liters, 5,000 bottles. So this was a batch of 4,504 bottles at 48.5%. And it was hot. So people were just going crazy trying to get bottles of this over here in Germany, as well as the UK. And so if we could at all make the batches a little bit bigger in the future, it might make our lives a little bit easier so we can actually try this and enjoy this. Now, the second thing that I think is very unfortunate, let's say that word here, is, I'm going to read the entire text in the back. It's not very much. Made by nature, not by rules. Our Quiet Rebel series is all about celebrating the people who make Nc'nean. What it is, I'm kicking things off with some of our early cask experiments, and next time another of our team will be picking their favorites. Great idea. Once a year, one of the people, Bruchladi, did that they pictured the people actually on here, and I thought that was really good. This release includes Ex-Tokaji barrels, which are slightly sweet and have a lovely velvet texture, which I think shines through in the spirit. The rest of the barrels are predominantly ex-bourbon. Remember the word predominantly. Another of my favorites with flavors of coconut, toasted vanilla, and tropical fruit. I hope you love it as much as I do. All right, 48.5%, 700 milliliter bottle, very good. What am I going to compare it to? I hope I forget. I don't forget. Ding, ding, ding. I'm sorry, ding, ding, ding. It's a small bottle. I have here batch number 3. Now, I started reading, and it's like, okay, I go to Whiskybase, and it says Sherry, Tokaji, STR, and, I'm sorry, it says Bourbon, Tokaji, STR, and Sherry Cask. It's like, wait, there's nowhere the word Sherry, there's nowhere the word STR on here. And then I nose it, and then I taste it, and I go, I know that taste, and it's not Tokaji, it's Pedro Jimenez. And now what happens is, if you actually go to Nc'nean, Nc'nean.com, you can actually go to then the nice little thing about, and then you go to something called the, so where was that here? Visit recipes. So I went to about, and down at the bottom it says more information, batch info. If you go to batch transparency, it shows then from batch 1, even before that with the Nc'nean batch, all the way up to batch 12 now, what they have released and what is in it. So I go here to the Quiet Rebels, which is between batch 10 and batch 9. And it says here, distillation dates between June 2017 and May 2018. No problem. Number of bottles, 4,504. Yay. Spirit, recipe, light, and tropical. That's a definition. Who knows? All right, yeast. They use Anchor, Fermentis, Mauri, and Chardonnay yeasts here. Interesting. And then what I thought was fantastic is they give us actually the cask mix. So in a normal batch, batch 3 to batch 12, or from batch 1 to batch 12, they use 65% STR and 35% ex-bourbon over here. Here they used 64% ex-bourbon, 22% Ex-Tokaji, 7% STR red wine, and 7% Pedro Jimenez sherry hogshead. Now there's a total of 14 casks used here. 12 from the year 2017, 2 from the year 2018. And if you divide 100 divided by 14, you get 7%. So one cask was the PX sherry, one cask was the STR red wine, 3 casks were the Ex-Tokaji, and the rest were there for the ex-bourbon, which is just fine. And what I thought was very interesting was the bottling date. For all the bottles here, that's 4,504 bottles. They went from the 14th of September all the way up to the 8th of October 2021. So 48.5%, beautiful. Now, I would have loved that it did not say predominantly ex-bourbon. I would have loved to have Tokaji, STR, and PX, Pedro Jimenez sherry here on this. Why? Because I, in my personal opinion, feel that the Pedro Jimenez overtakes the lead of the main moment of the taste. I've had Tokaji casks before with other brands. I like them, but the Tokaji is basically overpowered by the Pedro Jimenez, in my personal opinion here, which is fine. But it doesn't really taste like a Tokaji. All right, so I kind of was very confused until I researched and went and looked and was like, why don't you put it on the? You're doing so much for transparency. Why don't you do this here as well? All right, Annabel, great thing. Now I like the nose. It's got a creamy, malty, Pedro Jimenez raisin moment nose here with a little bit of the red wine shining through. Interesting enough, actually the batch 3 smells a little bit sweeter. That's the malt sweetness coming through here. The STR casks as well as the ex-bourbon here, wonderfully done. I have not had anything past batch 3. I've had batch 2 and batch 3, and then it's up to batch 12 now. And I'm just not going to buy a new batch each and every time. I do know that they're limited to the amount of bottles they can fill up at one time. They have to batch. They have to have a container, a ton that can actually hold the liquid here. So let's do the math real quick, which I hate doing in my head. So 5,040 times 0.7. I should be able to do this. They need something with 3,500 liters. That's fairly big. All right. So that's 3,500 liters for their mixing, their resting ton or the resting tank. And so other things, wow, it's not that big. If I remember correctly, Glenfarclas has a pot still with 20,000 liters. Yeah, I wasn't really wrong here. 3 wash stills with 29,600 liters, 3 spirit stills with 25,000 liters each. So it's a different system here, isn't it? Yeah. So I know it's a farm distillery, it's small, but hey, I think you need to ramp up that a little bit here. Just my personal opinion. All right, very good. So if I go over here, the batch 3. I like that STR, that little bit of tannin wood moment comes through here. The vanilla of the normal bourbon casks come through. They just using first fill casks as far as I'm aware now. They started distilling 2017. So if I look here, I can actually see that they switched over here to 2018 casks somewhere along the range of their batch number 10, sorry. So right before the Annabel here. So batch number 9 was all 2000. No, batch number 9 was 2017, 2018. Batch number 8 was all 2017. So this is amazing. So this is actually a 3-year-old whiskey here. Yeah, anything from 2018, bottled in 2021, 3 years of age. It can't be any older, mathematically. So for 3 years old, for 80 euros, this is a fabulous whiskey. I'm going to give it actually a C plus, B minus. I like. Now, what I did not like is I had to research. I had to really look and find out why there were discrepancies between the descriptions on that one side website and that what was in the bottle. And so I would prefer to actually have the information as transparent as possible, SDR and PX on the label here. If you added them, I mean, come on, just use it, all right? This has that creaminess. This has that viscosity. Towards the end, it's a tiny little bit of the youth shines through, but yet that raisiny Pedro Jimenez with the red wine from the Tokaji supporting it. Absolutely brilliant. I love this mix. If you do more of these, they'd sell like wildfire. Very, very nice. Value for money. A 3-year-old whiskey at 80 euros. I mean, that's more than 25 euros per year. Ouch. Is it worth it? Well, to be part of the history here, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to give this a C minus. I know you can't find it anymore. Would I be willing to pay 150 euros for this? No. That's the going price on the secondary market. No, don't buy it for 150 euros. Wait for the next one. Wait for the next thing that Nc'nean is doing. They're doing fabulous things. Call up, drive if you can, visit them and say hi. They're not on the beaten trail. They're way out there. If you're going to be close to Atnamochen, you're going to be close to Nc'nean. Close, not close by, but close, relatively speaking. And so even the bottle is made from fully recycled glass. I mean, come on. 99.97% of all the waste products are recycled. Renewable energy, the first certified zero carbon neutral distillery. These are the vanguard, the trailblazers of the distillery system. Annabel left her job in London, finances, went back to her family farm after having 4 years of fundraising to get enough together to start the distillery, to do it her way. A very female, feminine touch here, which I appreciate and I adore. I'm getting to like the bottle more and more. It does remind me of a gin bottle more than a whiskey bottle, but hey, that's my problem, not yours. And if there would be a tiny little hole here, that would make my life much, much better. So, gonna put my little hole in here myself. And then I can just, didn't punch all the way through. So let's see if we can do this here without killing myself. All right, now it punched through and I can do this a little bit better here. My hole doesn't look good, I know. All right, good. So that's me, WhiskyJason here. Now we can do this a lot better. Yay! So now we got this. Yes, thank you. I'm just impatient, I guess. WhiskyJason here. My question of the day is, have you had anything from Nc'nean yourself? And my second question is, Tokaji casks. Have you had anything from that? Ooh, from Hungary, by the way. Okay, all the best. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for liking, subscribing, and sharing this video with others. Nc'nean, a distillery to watch in the future, doing great things. Tiny little bit more transparency. That would make my life a tiny little bit better. But thank you. Bye-bye.